Friends, today's NRI Samay program from Los Angeles brought to you commercial free by listeners like you. Your generous donations make possible for us to stay commercial free, and today's show is pre-recorded. If you have a question for the guest, please send an email to nrisamay@gmail.com. We will follow up with the guest and find the answer for you. Thank you for your support.
Alright friends, so this is truly a fascinating story, and I got to tell you that the northeastern states are leading by an example. At NRI Samay, we have done multiple shows with some amazing people and incredible topics ranging from Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Assam, and today we'll be talking about yet another incredible story of a cute little northeastern state, Tripura. Just last year, Tripura surged ahead of Kerala to achieve top position in literacy chart in India, beating Kerala by a wide margin in the literacy rate. The state fell short to become fully literate state, but as of date stands at 94.65%. Incredible feat, and far more the Honorable Chief Minister of the state, Sri Manik Sarkar, vowed to make the state 100% literate. Seems like they're getting really close to the target in the next 6 months, and first of all, kudos to their efforts. Friends, my name is Srikanth, and this is NRI Samay Community Radio from Los Angeles. To talk about the Tripura State Literacy Mission, joining me now is Sri K. Rajeswara ji from the state capital of Tripura, Agartala. A 1988 batch IAS officer, Rajeshwara Rao worked at multiple positions and levels in the bureaucracy in Andhra Pradesh, Delhi, and at present at Tripura. Is also from the 1988 batch of IAS officers. I'd like to ask a bunch of questions, starting with some very basic and curious question of who would be called literate and who certifies one as a literate. So, Dr. Rajeshwara Rao, thank you so much for joining from Agartala, sir, the state capital of Tripura. Sir, welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you.
Deeply honored to have to be interacting with you, sir. Sir, let me get straight into the questions, sir. So first of all, when we talk about state literacy missions and all, right, the first question that I get to my mind is, how does one determine that a person is literate or not, sir? And also, who determines or who defines a person is literate, sir, for a state?
Yeah, in fact, it is a good beginning for the subject. There is a certain protocols have been laid out by the Government of India. The National Literacy Mission Authority of India defines literacy as acquiring the skills of reading, writing, and arithmetic, and the ability to apply them to one's day-to-day life. So basically, reading, writing, and numerical skills, which are addition, subtraction, multiplication. And there is a protocol how to identify, declare a person as a literate. And it is done with an independent evaluation.
Uh-huh. Okay. Sir, and also when we talk about such literacy missions, we'll have to evaluate what is going on. How does this evaluation process really work, sir? And is this evaluation of literacy done in stages, or how does it work, sir?
Yeah. In fact, the evaluation process is done in stages. First is the self-evaluation. The learners who are identified and who are enrolled, they are taught with 3 literacy primers, depending on the state context and approved by the state authorities. And each primer contains a set of 3 tests. So it is only when the learners qualify these tests, they reach the levels of literacy and numeracy as per the National Literacy Mission. The self-evaluation, and it has 3 stages. One is self-evaluation, second is concurrent evaluation, third is final evaluation. In the concurrent evaluation, there is a midterm appraisal of all these registered learners to assess whether they have completed these primers. If 50% of these enrolled learners have completed the first primer, then there will be second stage, that after the 3 months again they will be evaluated. So for example, in Tripura, in the initial stage, when the there are 8,152 teaching and learning centers. They are supported by 8,254 literacy workers. So after the identification, this internal evaluation was conducted in 2 stages. And after the 2 stages, first stage, it was done in 2013-14. Then there is a final evaluation done by an independent authorities called ISI Calcutta. So in this third evaluation, they conduct the test. This is the Indian Statistical Institute, ISI Calcutta, and the National Institute of Open Schooling, Noida. They depute their experts, they conduct the test, then only they declare, only when they come out with 50% marks in each primer and 70% as aggregate, then they declare them as reading, writing, numerical skills. The person, when he acquires these 3 skills, then he is declared as a literate.
Oh, okay.
So it is a very, very elaborate process spanning over a period of 3 to 6 months' time, and supervised by the national experts and the subject experts on the subject.
Wonderful, wonderful. Sir, there's absolutely a sense of happiness, and when we look into this eastern states doing phenomenally good, it sends out a positive vibration across the board, sir. And I wanted to sincerely thank each one of these people who are involved and all these good souls who are involved in making this mission happen. Because literacy, at the end of the day, it directly depicts the growth of the state and also the nation as well. So phenomenal effort, sir. Sir, from my childhood, I've been hearing that Kerala has been, having the highest literacy rate among the states of India, and it was followed by the state of Mizoram. And Tripura came from nowhere, literally. This is one of the success stories I've heard in the recent past. How was this possible, sir? What factors really contributed to this unbelievable success, sir?
Yes, Srikanth garu, you made a right observation, but only one issue is there. Traditionally, these northeastern states, they do not get adequate publicity except when there is an insurgency and violence that attracts perhaps the national news headlines. Right. But a lot of good things are done. For example, Tripura perhaps is the only state in the South Asian region, definitely in the Indian subcontinent. Even before independence, a mass movement for literacy was started in 1940s. It is known as Gana Shiksha Andolan. Basically, they want to literate the tribals of the hilly and forest areas in the erstwhile state called Tripura. This was called as Tripura, but known as Tripura. And this movement really established a social philosophy or a governance guidance, saying that literacy is the utmost importance for the Tripura society and culture, which is perhaps not aware to many people. But for Tripura, education is in fact the highest priority than the infrastructure, than the other issues. Right. So, given in this context, so 2009-10, there were Mr. Manik Sarkar, the Honorable Chief Minister of Tripura. He developed, he gave a clear guidance and strategy to the government and non-government functionaries after elaborate consultations with the stakeholders. So 2009-10, he started the literacy campaign to make Tripura 100% literate. And you will be happy to know that in 1971, because of various reasons, the literacy rate was 31%. Because after independence, again the focus perhaps was lost for some time. Right. But then it picked up in each decade, like 81, it has become 50%, 91, 60%, 2001, 73%. These are all our census figures. 2011, it was 87.75%. And the census data, this clearly indicates that Tripura is the fifth largest literate state. But after this, our internal evaluation, when Tripura achieved the 95.16% literacy rate in 2013,
Right.
now perhaps it is a top among the states in the country.
Right.
This is the background.
Right. Absolutely, sir. Thanks for that brilliant
Basically,
background.
it is a governance. It is a governance thrust and the focus of this is basically a voluntary movement. I would like to tell you for the benefit of our listeners that various categories of people have been involved, like Anganwadi workers, primary school teachers, educated youth. They all did a voluntary work and without any remuneration. That is the beauty of the entire campaign.
Wow. Amazing, sir. Amazing. When you say young people have volunteered, sir, so what do these young people do, sir?
So these young students of 11th class and 12th class, they spend 1 hour time and twice or thrice in a week in these literacy centers, and they volunteer to do the work, and we only give just 50 rupees per learner per month for maintenance, like they need a candle in case if there is no power, or they need some papers to explain chalk pieces. So basically that is the only thing we take care of that expenditure. Otherwise they do voluntarily, because as members of the community they are socially highly conscientious.
Right.
So they take care of their own elders, and because our major challenge is most of them, or perhaps 30 to 40% is that above 50 years actually. That is a very big challenge.
Right.
And some of them are up to 70 years. So they, like grandchildren, teaching the grandfather, grandmother. So I think they did a wonderful job, particularly in the interior hilly areas and forest areas.
Right.
Because these resource persons cannot go from the long distances.
Right.
So local resource people they have taken care of themselves.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. This sort of story is amazingly, inspiring. And you mentioned that there were around 8,152 learning centers and 8,254 literacy workers participated. And these were probably youngsters who've taken that initiative of going and then teaching there. And also you mentioned that 50 rupees concept wherein they go and then get candles and all this material to promote, yes, and to promote the cause of education. Wonderful initiative, sir. And sir, also when you explained the background, I could clearly sense what is happening in these eastern states. And also when at NRI Samay, we did talk to multiple people from the northeastern states. From Manipur, we did an interview with Beena Lakshmi Nepram, who was working for, women who lost their loved ones in gun violence. And she explained that from the northeastern states itself, the game called polo was invented. Polo is invented by the northeastern state of Manipur, and I never realized it until I spoke to her. So it is really interesting when we speak about such.
Yes, it was in Manipur. They initiated this game. That is correct.
Right.
Even this, when I mentioned this Jan Shiksha Andolan of the pre-independent movement to educate the people,
right,
is very, very unique in Indian social development context. Very unique.
Right, sir. Absolutely. Right. And now I understand the roots are so deep. It's been since 1930s, 1940s, that mindset and also that initiatives have got a huge background when we talk about these success stories. Yeah. And sir, I know that there is still, because you explained in 2013 it was around 95% or so, and there's still around 5% who are still, not literates. I don't want to call illiterates at all. That sends a negative message. I want to tell them not literates or whatever possible. But there is a marginal group of people who are still not literates. Is there any age, you mentioned about the age group till 70 years. So what sort of age group these not literate people fall under, sir?
Yeah, in fact, it's a very good question. Basically, for coming to specifics for Tripura, when this survey was conducted, 1,681 learners have been identified actually. And out of that, they who sat for the final evaluation throughout the state, 71,925 learners were in the age group of 15 to 50 years. And the balance are in the age group of above 50. So above 50, the major issue is that they have the oldness, then infirmity and ailments. Right. So that's why 100% literacy perhaps practically is not possible. Though there is an ongoing effort to identify the balanced learners to come into this functional literacy activity. But 100% perhaps is not possible in any state, I think. That is what I feel after the seeing the administrative perspective and the social realities. Right. Perhaps that is the issue.
Yeah. Sir, also you're from Agartala, and you're speaking to us, and also you've been on the helm of this Tripura Literacy Mission. You're seeing it up close, sitting in that northeastern state. So when you personally look at other places, you are visiting Andhra Pradesh or visiting other states, what's the sense you get, sir? Personally, how do you feel, sir? That, when you explained about this learning centers, young people going there and then, taking initiatives, taking 1 hour class, 2 hour class, do you see this happening in other states, sir?
See, frankly speaking, I worked in Andhra for more than a decade, Delhi for about 8 years, and in the Government of India, I extensively visited various states. Actually, this type of social responsibility or the urge to do something is quite high in Tripura, quite high.
Wow.
Maybe because of the teachers are very well respected in this society. In fact, teachers are the guide for it can be a social activity or it can be a cultural activity. They occupy a very, very prominent role, which is perhaps definitely not in the many states in the country. I am from, we have seen Andhra Pradesh, we have seen other states.
Right.
Perhaps that type of social thinking, a cultural value, what we call, perhaps is not there in other states, which is very high in this state. In fact, school, teacher is perhaps occupy a prominent place in the cultural and social life of Tripura.
Oh, wonderful.
It's a
wonderful.
very unique thing, actually.
Very unique thing, sir. And you mentioned that teachers are very well respected. And that's the very basic step for a society to, grow beyond. And that's a very good finding that you have mentioned, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And
to mention, even in the schools, every Saturday there is a kind of cultural hour. In the teachers, they tell what are all the great leaders of India and great initiatives of Tripura. 1 hour, it is happening for several decades. Every week, 1 hour, their children are taught actually what are all the great contributions of these cultural, social leaders and other activities. So that is ingrained in perhaps in the mind of the child right in from the primary stage about the values and importance of the education. That is what I feel.
Amazing. And sir, when we talk about literacy missions, I heard two things. One is the national literacy mission that the center drives, and the state literacy missions that you're all doing at the state level. What's the difference between the state and central literacy missions, sir?
State Literacy Mission Authority is a registered society under the School Education Department, and it has a general council headed by the Honorable Chief Minister, that is Mr. Manik Sarkar, and there is the Executive Council headed by the Minister of School Education, Mr. Tapan Chakravarti, who is one of the longest serving education ministers in the country, incidentally, and he is very passionate about this education.
Wow.
And State Literacy Mission Authority provides technical and resource support to the Jilla Saksharata Samitis, that is the district level societies, and block Saksharata Samitis. They are all headed by the district magistrates and collectors and the BDOs respectively. So State Literacy Mission Authority is basically spearheads, guides, and it gives a macro and guidance to these functionaries. And National Literacy Mission is basically a national body comprising of all the state governments and union territories under the Department of School Education, that is the Ministry of HRD, and it functions as the Secretariat of the National Literacy Mission Authority. And again, the same pattern, General Council is headed by the Union Minister for HRD, and Executive Council is headed by the Secretary. So NRMA provides resource support, basically financial resources, and also to have the standardization, so broad guidelines, so that there is uniformity in the country, which are followed by the state missions.
Okay, wonderful. So when we talk about literacy missions and also, making sure young kids go to schools, school dropouts, at least in the state of Andhra Pradesh, I heard this multiple times, school dropouts are the most common causes for young little ones not going to school. And the reason for dropouts are poverty, child labor, schools not in the accessible distances. What sort of steps did the Tripura government take to avoid school dropouts? It's a challenge, right?
Yeah. The dropout rates in the elementary level in Tripura is about 2 to 3% because of the largest number of schools started in Tripura. Because of its geographical and the demographical complexities and challenges, and trust was given over a period of several years. That's why schools are there, primary schools are there almost in every kilometer radius. And upper primary schools in every 2 to 3 kilometer radius. And high schools are there in every 3 to 4 kilometer radius. In spite of the hilly and forest terrains, this was achieved, and government has opened large number of schools because of its thrust on the education. And that's why dropouts are not much in the elementary, but in the secondary level, yes, because of various reasons. Second level, it is about 20%. And every year there is a household survey conducted to identify the school dropouts. In fact, depending on the situation, they also start the bid schools also for these dropouts. But I mentioned that the school is the center for all activities in Tripura society. And a lot of cultural programs are conducted to educate the mothers and to motivate the children. It can be road show, rally. Vidyalaya Chalo Abhiyan is a regular campaign during the summer vacations in Tripura, where local leaders, community elders, and other men and women, they make a very big procession in every area. They say that 100% literacy has to be there. Every child has to go to school. But Panchayat Raj is a very strong mechanism in Tripura. Panchayat Raj institutions.
Right. Decentralized.
Multi-stakeholder involvement. That's why enrollment is very, very high in Tripura. So dropouts are not very significant, but still the dropouts are there. The 2 to 3% is there.
Wow. So I've never heard of such an initiative like Vidyalaya Chalo Abhiyan, wherein rallies and mass number of people getting involved. I've seen election rallies and all of this political rallies, but educational rallies is so inspiring to even listen to hear about, sir. Sir, then the CM of Tripura, Manik Sarkar, mentioned that the government has launched an all-out effort to make literate the remaining people with class 3 standards by March 15. Of course, you mentioned that 100% is impossible. What is this class 3 standard, sir? Does that mean that people should be at least to a level of third class education or something like that?
Exactly. Class 3 standard is equivalent to a third class of elementary education. of a formal schooling system.
Mm-hmm.
So for this, we have constituted a state-level equivalency board headed by the Director of School Education with academic and social development functionaries. So the thrust is that all these neo-literates, so they will be taken to next level. That is the thrust actually.
Okay. When you mentioned about neo-literates, seems like the Tripura government not only tried to make people literate, but it undertook some specific plans to improve the functional literacy of these neo-literates. Right, sir? So, what sort of functional literacy is this, sir?
Functional literacy is the literacy by means of person is not only able to read, write and do simple numerical calculations, but also should be able to apply in his or her day-to-day life. So education is empowerment.
Right.
So that is the philosophy. So Tripura government is embarking on this continuing education program and a skill development program to all these neo-literates to encourage them so that this basic foundations of education coupled with skill development program should contribute for increasing in his day-to-day income. So that will also become an incentive and encouragement. So it will basically contribute for earning skills through learning skills. That is the mechanism.
Earning skills through the learning skills. Oh, amazing. So, how about
so that they can lead the better livelihood. That is that outcome is the what we have realized that will really be useful to the society. Basically, ultimately, whatever we do, that should benefit an individual or a community or a society.
Right.
So it should better their livelihood opportunities and quality of life.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely, you're right. So when we talk about literacy, let's look at the numbers for the male literacy and the female literacy. So how does the female literacy compare with the male counterparts, sir?
Yeah. In Tripura, in fact, because of again an integrated campaigns, we could reduce male and female literacy gap from 19% to 7% during the decade 2001 and 11, which is considered as the highest reduction in India.
Wow.
And Government of India duly recognized this very special achievement and awarded the state with a trophy and citation on 8 September 2011 on the occasion of the International Literacy Day. We could reduce that gap.
Phenomenal. Congratulations on that feat, sir. Definitely phenomenal. So when Mizoram and Tripura remain toppers in literacy in India, sir, northeastern states like Arunachal Pradesh is placed second lowest in literacy in the country, just above Bihar.
Yeah.
So Arunachal Pradesh is very close by to this to Mizoram and other Tripura. Why do you think Arunachal Pradesh is performing so bad, sir? What contributes to their very meager success, sir?
I don't think it is appropriate to comment on any state or state government. But generally, when we say Northeast, there is a general misunderstanding that they are all culturally unique and they are culturally completely different actually. Like when we refer to South India like Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, each one has a distinct characteristic and what we call geography. Right. Like the Northeast is also though there are 8 sisters of Northeast, each one is absolutely different, hilly. Arunachal Pradesh, the problem is this geographical situation is completely isolated. Number one is the hilly terrain, large number of ethnic groups are there. And again, it all depends on the political leadership. If they take this as a number one activity,
right,
then entire system will fall in place, both government and the non-government functionaries. Perhaps Arunachal Pradesh, the thrust must have been a little different, I think.
Right.
Maybe.
Right.
But I am not fully aware what is the situation, but it's a general assessment.
Yes, absolutely, sir. Yes. Sir, I'm hearing that Anganwadi workers at Tripura have contributed immensely to the success of this mission. Who are these Anganwadi workers, sir, and how did they help, sir?
Yeah. Anganwadi workers, again, they are social workers under Social Welfare and Social Education Department, and they are paid a fixed remuneration for their services for each month. So they are the workers who lay the foundation for this society, from womb to tomb. That is what the services they provide. So they take care of the pregnant and lactating mothers with their nutrition education, with the immunization programs, prenatal facilitation with the health functionaries, and also after the childbirth, between 0 to 3 years, when they are in the house, they are provided with the special nutritious food, and when they achieve 3 years, then 3 to 6 years, they go to Anganwadi center, where the preschool education is given, which is the foundation for the formal literacy. So these workers are very very dedicated and perhaps committed for their own community development. And for every registered 100-150 families, there is Anganwadi center is there. We have about 10,000 Anganwadi centers in the state, covering each and every pregnant and lactating mother, and also the children of 0 to 6 years group. So they do teaching, learning, nutrition support, coordinate with the health functionaries, and also they create awareness about the people.
Okay, fantastic. And sir, we are just talking about earning skills through learning skills. That's a very good statement. Yeah. And you mentioned about the new literates that the Tripura government, was giving some occupational training programs to these new literates at that end. What sort of jobs are common in Tripura and the eastern states, sir? So essentially, when these youth or youngsters are trained, what sort of jobs would they look at, and what sort of jobs are common in the state of Tripura, sir?
Yeah, let me tell you, this is again a brainchild of the Chief Minister, Mr. Manik Sarkar. He realized that when these neo-literates, when they come out successfully, he wanted that their earning skills should be enhanced with the short-term training programs. Like example, pisciculture, that is fishery, piggery, dairy, poultry, animal resources rearing, like backyard poultry. They are all doing in their own way, traditional way. Now the professionals will go and teach them for 5 days, 14 days, 21 days in their locality on how to enhance the perhaps income by improving these techniques. So that is the purpose. It is not like a full-time enhancement of the job skills or anything, but it is basically all these age group of people about 35, 40, 50 who are staying in their own localities. They should stay there and enhance their incomes. That type of trainings have been given, and we have identified 25 centers for this purpose. We have identified the professionals so that all these neo-literates they can guide in the local economic development. Basically, wherever is the local area requirements are there, in those areas only they are trained. Horticulture, the poultry, these are the very popular things in the localities actually.
Wonderful. Sir, as there are many procedures, policies and practices that the government would have imbibed, and also at your level when you're working, there will be a lot of initiatives that you have taken. I heard about an interesting policy of no examination till class 8th to children. Why was such a decision taken, sir? And this is really interesting to even imagine.
Yeah, then we have to go back to this constitutional amendment giving the right to education. When this RTE Act was promulgated, there were two special features were there. One is no detention up to class 8 as a national policy. At the same time, there is a new introduction called CCE, concurrent and compulsory evaluation, which is also a sort of examination system only, but it is a unique way. It is not a formal examination system like monthly test or a annual test type, but they do in a different way to perhaps nurture the innate talent and inner potential of the people. But this no detention is there. In spite of all these things, child cannot be detained in a class up to class 8. That is perhaps creating a functional problem in every state now. So CCE should address that problem. That is what we hope for.
All right.
But it is not to Tripura only, but it is a national policy.
National policy. Okay. And under the right to education program that you mentioned about. Okay.
Yeah.
And for young little kids, sir, how does midday meal program help in improving the enrollment of the kids in the schools? I'm not saying that these people do join for food. That's not absolutely not what I intend to do. But food is an absolute important entity in the holistic growth of a kid, and nutritious food makes a lot of sense for these young little kids. Are there midday meal programs in Tripura that is being run successfully as well, sir?
In fact, midday meal is one of the perhaps major attractions for retaining the literacy, not only in Tripura but everywhere. What happens now, I mentioned that Indian government schemes are there. They take care of 0 to 3 year children, 3 to 6 year children in Anganwadi mechanism, and up to class 8 in the formal schooling system. So in Tripura, not only Tripura, in every state perhaps it is working very well for retention mechanism. For example, in Tripura, there are 3,30,000 children in the primary and 1,88,000 children in upper primary. There is total 5.18 lakhs children. They are served the food in the school, that is a nutritious food. In fact, Tripura government was very keen. So they have decided to serve eggs also twice in a week so that the nutrition level improves. Milk also is given. This is perhaps contributing to counter the problem of the dropouts.
Okay.
This is the major attraction for the kids to come and eat actually.
Wonderful.
In the school.
Got
in
it.
addition to that.
Got it. So recently, Kailash Satyarthi was given the Nobel Peace Prize, and the attention was focused on child labor and also how Kailash was rescuing all these kids, and there was a lot of attention focus on that side. My question to you, sir, does child labor really reduce if there is improvement in literacy rates? Is there any connection between this, sir?
No, there is a definite, there appears to be a very strong connection between these two, and all these regulatory mechanisms and social awakening and mass movements are the only answer perhaps for this reduction of child labor. Of course, it is not a problem in Tripura because of the social awareness, but there is a relationship between these two.
Wonderful. So Rajeswara Rao,
I feel that.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I feel that if the child started going to school and the enabling environment is there, that changes, I think, perhaps completely his life perspective and life goals. That's what I feel very strongly.
You're so right, sir. You're so right. And Dr. Rajeshwara Rao, thank you so very much for staying on call and also accepting our invitation at NRI Samay. We feel deeply honored and also so proud of the state of Tripura, and also doing this show gives us immense happiness because people or anyone who listens to the show, they might literally take this up and get inspired themselves. You mentioned about how youth of Tripura take the initiatives and the volunteerism that they do in terms of improving the literacy rates in Tripura. And thank you so much, sir, for your time.
But I would like to really appreciate the interest taken by NRI Samay, particularly you have exchanged a lot of mails with me, lot of calls, and a lot of research was done. I'm very pleasantly surprised the amount of information you have about Tripura, where there is an absolute lack of awareness in many quarters. But I really compliment, and I hope this interest will generate adequate keenness to know more and more about Tripura and other states in the country.
Absolutely,
really,
sir. Absolutely, sir. Thank you so much for all your kind words, sir. And essentially, that's what we do at NRI Samay. I try to bring in all inspiring stories and on the untold stories, unheard voices, and also the remote heroes who are making a world of difference. So thank you once again, Rajeshwara Rao.
Friends, if you liked today's show, please go to youtube.com/NRI Samay and click on the subscribe button. You will get notified every time we publish a new show, and you can also like us on our social media sites like Facebook, Twitter and Google+.